So how do you write a product manager resume in 2026? How do you optimize it for the applicant tracking system and for your favorite companies? I'm going to walk you through, I'm holding nothing back. I'm going to walk you guys through the entire stack, step by step, from the very, very bottom to the very, very top. If you need any references as to, well, you're going to have some degree of skepticism, right? This gentleman here bagged in 17 product manager interviews a week, 250% pay bump, multiple offers within 6 weeks. In this Notion doc, DM me on LinkedIn if you'd like to get access to it. This gentleman here bagged in about 30 plus product manager interviews a week. This works if you are in the US, if you're on an H1 visa, if you're in Canada, if you're in the UK, it works. So what do we got to go ahead and do? It's a very simple 19-step process. And you're thinking 19 steps. Well, you probably, if you got into this video right now, probably applied to a lot more than 19 jobs, maybe even with an extra 0, and you're not seeing a lot of return on investment for your effort. So let's just get this thing done right the first time around, and you don't have to worry about this as much. I do want to go ahead and preface this as a disclaimer. This shouldn't take you more than 1 hour tops. And on top of that, I'd also like to go ahead and say this. Beyond the resume, you have a few different things that we actually need to talk about here, which I'll call, I'm just going to add at the very bottom right here to illustrate my point, which is, I will say, the resume, the anatomy of the product manager resume. First thing here is we have the template. The next thing here is we have the content. And then we basically also have some degree of customization that I'm going to talk about. And like the first thing that we want to go ahead and actually get to here is, and I actually have a few references for you. We have a Claude project that helps customize. And then I also have some resume templates basically right here. The first thing you need to do is you need to download and access the resume templates that we basically have access to for you. And for your easier viewing, I have added the hyperlink basically right here, and it's going to bounce you off into this Airtable, and you will go ahead and be able to choose from a range of resume templates that we have. Including also some of the people that we've landed product manager jobs for at like Google, Meta. These are some of the resume templates they use. I want to preference and just like disclaimer. Let me go ahead and actually add this as a disclaimer. Please do not plagiarize and use this thing verbatim. I actually have a lot of DMs where they tell me that like the recruiter says my resume looks exactly the same as 9 other people or 4 other people. It's that optimized, but like you're supposed to also add your own spin to it, which is why this Claude project that I'm going to reference for you later is going to be so hot. But the first thing that you want to go ahead and do is you want to grab one of the resume templates that's basically listed over here. Pretty much any template can go ahead and actually do. But overall, there's a few things that we cover in our resume template. And you have the name, you have the contact information, you've got the website portfolio, you've got the YouTube portfolio, and then you have the Instagram portfolio. Now the question that I'm going to get, do I need all these portfolios? No, but the person that actually has it is going to dramatically stand out. And if you don't want to keep on missing out on opportunities to people that are coming out of our program, you might want to go ahead and do that, because here's how you should interpret it. If you were the hiring manager, would you hire somebody that, would you actually hire somebody that has the portfolio versus somebody that didn't, that can actually prove that they have the experience that these companies are looking for, right? The next thing is there shouldn't be more than 5 bullets per description. And then you can have some of the certifications and portfolio projects basically down here. The first thing you need to go ahead and do is, I'm a big fan of momentum. The resume process should not take you guys more than 1 hour, but I see some people spend 30 days on it, and the whole market is basically moving them by. At the time of the recording of this video, this is June 28th, Sunday. I'm recording this quickly before I go out there and watch, I believe Canada's playing today for the World Cup. Like, don't overanalyze every single step. Just download a resume template, download a few resume templates first. And then the next thing here is transfer all of the content from your existing resume template onto just one document. So you should have this 3 other document templates, and then at the very bottom, move everything else you have into this one document right here. That's all you need to go ahead and do. The next thing that we need to go ahead and do, once we have everything onto one document, is I'm going to need you to go ahead, update the contact information. So where it says Jane, that should be your name. Jane's fake phone number should be your phone number. Jane's fake email should be your email. Your address should be your address. And then add in your own LinkedIn handle. All about momentum. We're getting this shit done and we're getting it out of the way. One more thing I would like to go ahead and add is add the work authorization next to your name. So in brackets, this is the CCAF study guide. It's a little bit early for that. Add in U.S. citizen, green card holder, whatever, because the algo does screen out certain candidates. Now, this is actually where I get a lot of questions where, well, Rich, I'm on an H1. Like, if I do that, does that like screen me out? There again, I'll find out sooner or later, and having an H1 is actually not like the worst thing in the world, but there are a lot of people feel like there's only like a few different types of work authorizations out there. That's actually not true. There's more than a few, and we've actually worked with people that have been on the H1. Like, in terms of work authorization, there are a lot of different types of work authorizations out there. I actually didn't even know. H1 is great. That means you're authorized to work. But if they have to go out there and investigate, they're going to be a little bit more upset, right? Because that's taking time, and they could be interviewing somebody that's like, okay, this person has an H1, I'm ready to go ahead and go. You also have to factor in that in today's market, you have a lot of people applying to jobs, even though they're not in the U.S. And they could be all the way out there in Asia, for example. Like, it's a lot of just friction points. We just want to be as upfront as possible. Having said that, though, the next thing that we want to go ahead and do now is remove the professional summary. Nobody reads it. If you want to keep it, I won't stop you. But if you're going to go ahead and keep it, you might as well have it done right. So use one of ours that actually has a professional summary. Some of these people are there like, it's just so much information. Like, it's not going to go out there and help you out. The next thing that you want to go ahead and do after that is you want to update and move the skills chart to the very top for the algorithm. So what the algorithm really searches for in terms of like the ATS is this keyword algorithm right here, where it's going to see if you have like Claude Cowork 2.0, Cursor, Replit, Lovable, Claude Manage Agents, Manage, GenSpark. If you don't have these skills, you can remove it. If you have it, you should go out there and keep it. If you plan to learn it, you might as well go ahead and keep it on there as well. And that's the thing that's separating our people from getting the best jobs versus other people that are just wondering what is it that they're doing wrong. Is we're making sure everybody has these skills. Their portfolio is backing up the fact that they have these skills. But if you actually don't have them, you really need to just learn them and master them at this point, because this is what the market values. It's not the fact that you know Claude Cowork. It's the fact that you can learn new skills quickly. The most important skill in this entire, there's a lot, but your ability to leverage AI to learn AI and be able to train other people on your learning hacks and your study hacks to be able to learn AI with AI, that is very, very attractive. Load up on the latest AI skills in the chart. There's always new skills that are coming out, like, Codex, whatever it is. You have to keep on adding to your chart. It's not a one and done. You want to add your YouTube handle and your Instagram handle and your portfolio. Now here, I'm just going to go ahead and write optional, because a lot of people have a lot of hesitation and reluctance, and I'm just going to say this. And you can also add your newsletter handle, i.e. like Substack or LinkedIn newsletter. And you're going to be thinking, Rich, do I need all this stuff? Distribution is key. which really goes back to when we talked about this earlier, is what do product managers do in today's market? This is actually why I always come back to like, what are our first principles up here? Like, what is it that we're trying to go out there and ultimately accomplish, right? We want to get the highest paid product manager jobs with the best teams. We want to brand ourselves, we want to brand ourselves as basically the most sought after talent, must have talent. And if you understand what companies are favoring right now based upon what are the challenges they're facing in the market, those are the types of skills that you want to go ahead and deliver. If I'm still not clear enough, it's basically this. In a market where you have so much qualified talent, the best way for you to differentiate yourself is to have a bunch of additional value adds that your peers don't have or are not willing to do. If you come to a hiring team and you say Claude Cowork, they have no ability to assess whether or not you actually know Claude Cowork, or to what degree you know Claude Cowork, and to whether or not you can train your fellow coworkers to use Claude Cowork. With the YouTube, you totally can. And this is actually what companies really want right now, is to see that you're putting yourself out there. So if you take a look at like this person here that actually landed a product manager job in our program, and she had secured multiple AI product manager offers with hackathons. She had actually hosted about 4 hackathons with us. Like, now all of a sudden, versus I'm thinking whether or not you have it, well, how do you know how to use it? Can you train the team to go ahead and use it? Now all of a sudden, it's a lot more clear cut. You want to keep the bullets to 5 to 6 resume descriptions per position. So when I'm talking about resume bullets, I'm talking about right here. And something that you'll notice with this is, I'm going to go back over here really quick, is I'm going to give you guys a tip. Include the time range. Avoid percentages. And then most importantly, something else that you should be thinking about is include specific metrics. Include the impact of metrics. So I'm going to give you guys an example. Okay. Spearheaded a project where we increased website traffic from 3,000 visitors to 6,000 visitors within 33 days. There you go. And I was voice prompting, by the way. So this is actually an example bullet. Okay. And I have this for you right here. And I will actually provide an additional reference, which is, if you go over to our tab here, I've also included in the next tab over a list of resume description bullets that you can go out there and actually use. And then you'll basically see here, like, sometimes we'll include the percentages, but something else that you've noticed throughout this entire time is, and it's all within the same Airtable, is you'll have like achieving 25% reduction in escalations and 15% improvement within 3 months. If you actually have this right now, right, I will say, resume descriptions. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and actually add this as a hot tip. Okay, because I want you guys to win out there. The purpose of your resume, beyond helping you secure an interview from a cold application, is to help the recruiter pitch and market you as the most sought after candidate. Okay. Voice prompting is hot, right? I'll go out there and give you guys another example of it. Not every candidate that the recruiter refers is going to get interviewed by the hiring manager. And it's really important for us to appreciate this reality, because the most important asset a product manager or any hiring team member would have is their time, and they protect it like it's the Berlin Wall. So when you're going into the interview and you are telling the hiring manager, as a recruiter, I would really like you to interview Stephanie or Jake, and they made this impact and it was 25%. Immediately in this market, which is why it's so important for you to understand, always go back to that video, what do product managers really do in 2026? You're going to have an extremely burnt out, overworked director or head of product that's going to be aggravated at the fact that you are giving me a percentage that I have no reference point to, and I don't understand how fast they're able to move. And I'm just going to take this from my yellow note now, and I'm just going to add it right here. It's very important for you to understand that. So what we want to do is actually pretty simple. We want to help the recruiter have an easier time to pitch and market us as candidates when they are mentioning our names to the hiring managers. So when they go to a director or head of product and say, can you interview Stephanie or Jake at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday, they are making a very easy case, a no-brainer, why the hiring manager should make some time to speak with you versus they'd rather be doing anything else or absolutely nothing at all. Okay? So this is actually why I prompt. This is actually the crazy thing. This is actually good feedback for like Whisperflow and GenSpark. I notice when I prompt onto a post-it note on the side, I get what it is that I'm trying to say, but when I prompt sometimes directly onto Notion, it doesn't work out that way. But hopefully you guys are going to land a product manager job at a GenSpark or Whisperflow, so that way, you know, you guys can take my feedback and kind of share the pain that I have, right? We want to make it easier for the recruiter to pitch us as the candidate a hiring manager should interview versus another candidate that's competing for you for the same role. That's going to be a no-brainer because they're going to have clear metrics in terms of the impact they made. Now, having said that, some of you are very worried, perhaps the metrics or accomplishments you find to be underwhelming. Please don't do so. Overinflated metrics in today's market is not going to go out there and help you land a job, especially if you can't back it up. There's a certain degree you can stretch and kind of fluff, but more to the point, they really want to know the impact. And then now I'm going to take all of this and I'm going to add it back in here. Okay, and then now we have that. So now you basically have, and then something else is use a different verb for each description bullet. Like, for example, don't use the word led in multiple descriptions. Replace led with spearheaded, drove, initiated. These little things really do differentiate yourself in the marketplace. See, we have another problem again. Yeah. Don't use the word led over and over again for multiple resume descriptions. You want to go ahead and use drove, initiated, spearheaded. That way it doesn't look that boring when you're actually doing it. These little things do make a lot of difference. See, problem solved. Avoid fonts such as Times New Roman, Calibri, or Arial. We actually have a good number of fonts that we've actually used here for various, like it just looks like you're not even really trying, right? So we have that. You can use it, and if you don't, That's also okay. And then remove any position beyond 5 to 6 years ago. So a common objective that I get a lot of the times is like, what if I worked at a company that was a really hot company, or I made a really significant impact on a project? Should I keep it on there even though it's beyond 5 to 6 years ago? My personal answer to that question over and over again is no, because the market was also a very different market 5 to 6 years ago. So even if you did make that impact, that was a very different market. And that doesn't necessarily mean the success that you had, which I appreciate personally. At the end of the day, I'm not the person that's offering you a job. Companies are looking for whether or not you're going to be able to make an impact for the upcoming quarter or the upcoming year. And then you can go ahead and add that right here. Okay, and then customize the resume with the Claude project. So I'm actually going to have the reference for the Claude project down here. This is like additional feedback. Okay, on Claude. So we created a project. So basically here, you'll have, this is actually the name. So I am just gonna move my face here because that's not important for y'all. And I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna go ahead and actually add the screenshot right here. And here's what you want to go ahead and do. Okay. Use the following project name. Here is the project description. And then I also have this thing called the Claude project instructions. And then I have, okay, step. You want to go ahead and upload resume template or templates, right? And you want to go out there and add, and then you want to go ahead and add. For the project name, and this is just optional, I chose this, which is okay. And I'm just going to be very real with you. You can choose any name that you want. I just found this name to be the easiest name to go out there and name the Claude project. That's going to customize all of your resumes. And then the next thing is the description. So with the description right here, I'm just going to go to show more. This is the description. Right below the name. And you'll have that. And then the next thing here is the instructions, which we'll take here. And this is the instruction prompt. And that's the whole prompt. And I'm just going to go out there and make your life easier. Claude project instruction prompt. And I am just going to turn this thing into a little toggle right here so you can see basically all of this. Okay. And then the next step here is you want to upload any of your resume template or templates, and you just want to go here where it says file and you want to press on the plus, and you'll basically have that right here. And I could also say this. You can include your original resume template as well as the resume templates that we have also provided for you here. And then you basically have all that. And then you'll see that, like in my Claude chat, that it basically now creates all of the resume templates. So what it's supposed to go ahead and actually do is this. When you have a resume, you have the overall template, which is right here, but you have different descriptions, sorry about that, right here. And then what you can do is it basically is going to update these descriptions to be something that's very highly customized to that particular role. So the instructions, which I'm going to add for you guys right here, is how it's prompted is now all you got to do is add the job description to create resume description, customize, ATS optimize. And role specific resume description bullets for the position. So it says, like in the prompt, it says you're an elite technical resume writer with the ATS optimization specialist for product management roles at top tier tech companies. You work exclusively with metrics, achievements, blah, blah, blah. The resume, you upload the resume here. Your core philosophy is companies hire for or not hire for potentials. You have 20 resume bullets per position. Use real numbers pulled from the student's existing resume or key information that they provided. You never use percentages. You always include a time frame, and the ATS keyword strategy is it optimizes for the keywords, and it especially works well with people that come from a non-traditional background. Just assuming if you don't have this background, but you want to work at a Spotify or a YouTube or like an Amazon, right? Like, how would you go out there now and make that thing relevant, make that resume relevant? And then the professional summary, you can go out there and include here, and then you format the output. And now, when you have a job that you're very interested in, all you have to do now is add the job description of whichever company that you're interested in, copy and paste the entire job description into the chat, and it'll create 20 resume description bullets for you and have a resume that's highly customized and optimized for that specific role and the ATS. And that'll just make your life a little bit easier. Because if we can go ahead and remove the friction of you see your role by the time you're done customizing for it, like 900 people have already applied. If we can automate, and there's so much that we can go out there and do with it, but I just wanted to make it simple because I don't know what people's various degrees of technical ability are. But there are ways that we can implement Claude Code or even Claude Cowork or Claude Manage agents to go out there and help you guys out with this. But somebody that maybe doesn't know Claude because they're not in our program, like this is just a very easy, quick, fast way, inexpensive, for you guys to just go out there and have that resume template come out. So you guys can go out there and bag, the hottest jobs, right? And that's what I wanted for you guys. And then you can always just DM me on LinkedIn to come to the coaching call for a resume review. Because the next video we're going to cover in this series is LinkedIn profile as well. The LinkedIn profile has to go out there and match. And the next thing that you're going to go ahead and do is in terms of next steps is actually update the LinkedIn profile to align dates and roles. Well, actually align roles and dates with the resume. Something that is very off-putting when you're applying is that when the dates, the titles, and the company names from the resume and the LinkedIn doesn't align with each other, and that's very problematic. And the bonus step in all of this is record a YouTube video on how to write a product manager resume or tech resume. So you're going to take everything that you've learned here, and this is essentially speaking, one of the first portfolio projects that you want to go out there and actually create. This is your homework now. I actually don't even really need this. And why is that? Well, if you're trying to differentiate yourself in the marketplace, something that you should immediately start appreciating is companies are hiring people based upon their background. And you're not just getting a job anymore for the sake of getting a job. That's something that we have to come to terms with, which is I would say probably a final, final note, conclusion. Okay. What's going to get you hired for the product manager role is beyond what you can do on the job, but what they feel are all the additional value adds that you bring in place of what it is that you're doing. Everybody has met somebody or knows somebody that was recently impacted from the layoffs or is currently struggling on the job hunt, and they just feel like the market is very brutal right now. In addition to that, most people that are working right now, they don't even feel they don't feel safe or secure at their own job. So when you're coming in here with your portfolio, a lot of people don't have one, but they're talking about very basic level AI skills that don't offer a lot of value. And meanwhile, they see that you actually have a YouTube video showing people how to write resumes. That is immediately very hot because that's a conversation topic that gets everybody excited because everybody's interested in how to how their resume can look better. Almost everybody that we had interviews for in the past 8 months, as soon as they have shown that they show other people how to write resumes, they've gotten this feedback as a common response. My daughter just graduated and she's really struggling right now on the market. What are you seeing? Or I hear my girlfriend's younger brother, he got impacted and he's just been struggling to make a comeback. What are you seeing out there? This is actually why one of the perks of being a part of the program is saying that you're a coach with our program, is because people know our company for being able to deliver jobs in a very chaotic and brutal marketplace, because we understand where to focus our attention, starting with which companies that we should be applying to and which skills to go ahead and develop. And that's always a fun conversation with hiring teams to have, because everybody else is going to be talking about how it is that they're qualified for that job. Meanwhile, whether or not you're qualified for that job is up for discussion. Can you be trained to be qualified for that job? Very much so. But if you bring on other intangibles that companies find to be extremely valuable to the team, they are very easily going to consider you over the other candidates that are competing for the same roles where their resumes look the same, and then also where they sound the same, and where they're just going to be getting more of the same. Different is always better. I mean, that's how you stand out in the marketplace, is by being different. So you can't say you want to stand out and be afraid to stand out, because everybody that's doing the same shit is struggling right now because everybody else is doing the same thing. So even if they're a rock star, it just doesn't get the company excited enough to want to expedite the interview process, get their DocuSign ready, and issue you out an offer letter for a really, really, really strong salary rate. This is so cool with the voice prompting, because now I have all that information here, because I voice prompted this whole thing. And then now you guys can go out there, and hopefully this makes it easier for it to reference for you guys, but let me know in the comments if there's anything else that we could have done. In the next video, now we're gonna go ahead and actually talk about how to spruce up your LinkedIn profile, okay? Stay tuned, reach out to us for help.